Hello everyone, welcome to Study Room. I'm Kanika and I'm going to be your educator for this chapter in English, which is called as The Proposal. So, let's get started and learn as well as gain some new insights about this chapter. Before we delve into what the chapter is all about, it's extremely important for us to know a little about the author of this chapter, that is, the person who has written this chapter. Anton Chekhov was a Russian playwright and short story writer who is considered to be amongst the greatest writers in the course of history. He was a master of the modern short story. You can see from the illustration that this is the author of the chapter, Anton Chekhov. Let's now know a little more about the theme of the play. As we can see that the tendency of wealthy families to seek ties with other wealthy families in the name of good economic sense prevails, so that those wealthy families can not just increase their wealth but also their estates by encouraging these forms of marriages. Ivan Lomov, in this particular play and chapter, is a long-time wealthy neighbor of Stephen Chubukov, who is also wealthy and who comes to seek the hand of Chubukov's 25-year-old daughter, Natalia. All three of them are quarrelsome people and they quarrel over petty issues. The proposal in this particular context of the marriage is in danger of being forgotten amidst all this quarreling. But economic good sense ensures that the proposal is made. After all, although the quarreling perhaps continues. So, tendency is a kind of a habit that we can see among certain people. Wealthy families are families with a lot of wealth. Moving forward, let's now look into the characters of the play. That is, who are the people as well as the roles that we see in this chapter. Stephen Stefanovich Chubukov is a landowner. Natalia Stepanova, his daughter, 25 years old. Ivan Vasilievich Lomov, a neighbor of Chubukov, a large and hearty but very suspicious landowner. So you can see from all these names that these are essentially names that are used by people who are of Russian descent. So you can see that these surnames like these can always be seen among people who belong to the mainland of Russia. Let's move forward now. The proposal. A drawing room in Chubukov's house. Lomov enters wearing a dress jacket and white gloves. Chubukov rises to meet him. So it's important to see the particular context that the writer is trying to draw for us. The play in this particular chapter opens in the drawing room that is in Chubukov's house, wherein Lomov enters wearing a dress jacket and white gloves. Chubukov's, whose house it is, and he's obviously sitting in his house, he rises to meet Lomov. Chubukov. My dear fellow, whom do I see? Ivan Vasilievich? I'm extremely glad. Squeezes his hand. Now this is a surprise, my darling. How are you? Lomov. Thank you. And how may you be getting on? So we can see that this is a conversation that begins with Chubukov asking and looking forward to the meet given by his darling Lomov, whom he is extremely glad to meet. It seems that the kind of words, my dear fellow, my darling, that Chubukov have used for Lomov, it seems that Chubukov is extremely fond of Lomov. Here, the phrase squeezes his hand refers to a handshake. So when you meet a close friend of yours or somebody that you like, you always shake their hand and you shake their hand very tightly. Chubukov says, we just get along somehow. My angel, thanks to your prayers, and so on. Sit down, please do. Now, you know, you shouldn't forget all about your neighbors, my darling. So we see that Lomov is actually Chubukov's neighbor, as he tells him that you shouldn't forget all about your neighbors. My dear fellow, why are you so formal in your get-up? Evening dress, gloves, and so on. Can you be going anywhere, my treasure? So when Lomov comes to Chubukov's place and Chubukov has a look at him, he looks at him and says that why exactly is he so dressed up for? And why is he wearing something that is so formal and so good to look at? That is an evening dress, gloves, and so on, which are usually worn by people in parties. So he asks him if he is going anywhere. Lomov replies, "No, I've come only to see you, honored Stefan Stepanovich." Chubukov replies, "Then why are you in evening dress, my precious, as if you're paying a New Year's Eve visit?" Lomov replies, "Well, you see, it's like this. I've come to you, honored Stefan Stefanovich, to trouble you with a request." So Lomov says that he's not come for a party, but he's come this dressed only to meet his neighbor and wants to request him for something. He says that not once or twice have I already had the privilege of applying to you for help. So previously also Lomov's neighbor has helped him out. So again he has come to request for a help from him. Lomov then says, "And you have always, so to speak, I must ask your pardon. I'm getting excited. I shall drink some water, honored Stefan Stefanovich." So, in the meantime, Lomov asks for some water and drinks it. Chubukov then says, "He's come to borrow money. Shan't give him any. What is it, my beauty?" So, Chubukov thinks that Lomov has come to ask for some money and he is not in any mood to give him any kind of money and whatsoever. Lomov then says, "You see, honored Stefanich, I beg pardon, Stefan Honorich. I'm awfully excited, as you will please notice." So we can see how excited and nervous Lomov is at the same time as he messes up and confuses his neighbor's name with both of these names. He then continues to say that in short, you alone can help me, though I don't deserve it, of course, and haven't any right to count on your assistance. Moving forward, Chubukov then replies, "Oh, don't go round and round it, darling. Spit it out." Well, Lomov then says, "One moment, this very moment. The fact is that I've come to ask the hand of your daughter, Natalia Stepanova, in marriage." So, upon being insisted to ask for whatever help that Lomov had come to ask for, Lomov says that he has come to ask for the hand of Chubukov's daughter, Natalia, for marriage. Chubukov says in a very joyful manner, "By Jove, Ivan Vasilievich, say it again. I didn't hear it at all." Lomov then says, "I have the honor to ask." Chubukov interrupts him and says, "My dear fellow, I'm so glad, so glad," and so on. "Yes, indeed, and all that sort of thing." He, in the meantime, embraces and kisses Lomov. You can see that this is how somebody embraces and kisses somebody. "I've been hoping for it for a very long time. It's been my continual desire." In the meantime, he gets emotional and gets teary-eyed. "And I've always loved you." So we can see that upon being asked for the hand of marriage by Chubukov for his daughter by Lomov, he is extremely pleased to hear the request by Lomov and says that he has always liked him, and he gets extremely emotional as he sees that a long unfulfilled desire is on the verge of being completed. "My angel, as if you were my own son. May God give you both his help and his love and so on and so much hope. So we know that this is what Chubukov says in order to not just pray but also hopes the best for his daughter and the person whom she is going to marry in the future, that is Lomov. He then continues to say, "What am I behaving in this idiotic way for? I'm off my balance with joy, absolutely off my balance. Oh, with all my soul, I'll go and call Natasha and all that." So, in the meantime, he tries to control his excitement and joy and goes and calls his daughter Natasha, whose hand has been asked for marriage by Lomov. Lomov, who is greatly moved, says, "Honored Stefan Stefanovich, do you think I may count on her consent?" He then asks Chubukov if he can get his daughter's consent for the marriage. Chubukov replies, "Why, of course, my darling, and as if she won't consent. She's in love, egad, she's like a lovesick cat, and so on. Shan't be long." In the meantime, Chubukov makes an exit. Lomov says, in the meantime, "It's cold. I'm trembling all over, just as if I'd got an examination before me." So we can see through this line that Lomov is extremely nervous. The great thing is, I must have my mind made up. If I give myself time to think, to hesitate, to talk a lot, to look for an ideal of a real love, then I'll never get married. So, because of how nervous Lomov is, Lomov doesn't want to really think a lot about it. Doesn't want to think a lot about his decision of marrying Chubukov's daughter. Which is so because Lomov feels that if he thinks too much about his marriage proposal for Natasha, then he will start to hesitate and begin to look for somebody else who is perfect, or for that matter, even for real love. But if he starts to look for all of these things and starts to overthink about whether he should get married or not, and even if should wait for somebody who is perfect or for a real love, then with that pace he will never get married. Lomov says, "Brr, it's cool. Natalia Stepanovna is an excellent housekeeper. Not bad looking, well educated. What more do I want? But I'm getting a noise in my ears from excitement." He drinks in the meantime. "And it's impossible for me not to marry. In the first place, I'm already 35, a critical age, so to speak. So, we can now see that Lomov is extremely enthusiastic to marry Natalia, not because he is in love with her or if he genuinely wants to marry her, because he feels that it's the right age for him to marry, that is 35. And so, he finds that Natalia is also a good housekeeper and good looking and also well educated, so she must be a perfect match for him. Moving forward, Lomov then says, "In the second place, I ought to lead a quiet and regular life. I suffer from palpitations." Palpitations is a form of anxiety or a certain form of fear. "I'm excitable and always getting awfully upset. At this very moment, my lips are trembling and there's a twitch in my right eyebrow." So we can see that by the very fact of Lomov's lips trembling and twitching, twitching is the movement in a spasmodic manner. Both these things prove of how anxious Lomov is. Lomov then says, "But the very worst of all is the way I sleep. I no sooner get into bed and begin to go off, when suddenly something in my left side gives a pull, and I can feel it in my shoulder and head. I jump up like a lunatic." Lunatic is somebody who is crazy, mad, or even psychologically unstable. Walk about a bit and lie down again. So with this particular part, we get to know that Lomov's anxiety is actually very high because he has trouble in sleeping. But as soon as I begin to get off to sleep, there's another pull, and this may happen 20 times. That's the moment when Natalia Stepanovna comes in. Natalia, well, there, it's you. And Papa said, go, there's a merchant come for his goods. How do you do, Ivan Vasilievich? So, apparently, Natalia's father sends her to the living room under the pretext that he must go and see a merchant who has come for his goods. But in fact, and as a matter of fact, Natalia already happens to know Ivan Vasilievich who has come for the proposal. Lomov then says, how do you do, honored Natalia Stepanovna? Natalia replies, you must excuse my apron and neglig. We're sharing peas for drying. Why haven't you been here for such a long time? Sit down. They seat themselves. Won't you have some lunch? So, Natalia even offers some lunch to Lomov. Lomov then says, no thank you. I've had some already. Natalia says, then smoke. Here are the matches. The weather is splendid now, but yesterday it was so wet that the workmen didn't do anything all day. So, once Lomov refuses for lunch since he had had some already, Natalia then offers him some smoke. You can see the illustration that this is what a smoke can look like. Natalia then says, how much have you stacked? Just think, I felt greedy and had a whole field cut. And now I'm not at all pleased about it because I'm afraid my hay may rot. So, hay is seen from this illustration here. Natalia is conversing about harvesting of hay from her field. Natalia then continues to say, I ought to have waited a bit. But what's this? Why, you're in evening dress? Well, I never. Are you going to a ball or what? So, a ball is a certain kind of formal and well organized dance. Though I must say you look better. Tell me, why are you got up like that? You can see that this is what a ball dance looks like. Moving on, Lomov, who is extremely excited, says, you see, honored Natalia Stepanova, the fact is, I've made up my mind to ask you to hear me out. Of course, you'll be surprised and perhaps even angry. But it's awfully cold. Natalia then replies, what's the matter? Well, Lomov then says, I shall try to be brief, short and direct. You must know, honored Natalia Stepanovna, that I have long, since my childhood, in fact, had the privilege of knowing your family. So Lomov says that since his childhood, he has known Natalia's family, and he takes that as a matter of privilege for himself. Lomov then says, my late aunt and her husband, from whom, as you know, I inherited my land, always had the greatest respect for your father and your late mother. Lomov then continues, the Lomovs and the Chubukovs have always had the most friendly and I might almost say the most affectionate regard for each other. And as you know, my land is a near neighbor of yours. You will remember that my oxen meadows touch your birch woods. So we can see that the Lomovs and Chokobovs as families have been extremely close and friendly to each other since many years, not just as people, but even as neighbors. Natalia then says, excuse my interrupting you. You say, my oxen meadows? But are they yours? Lumov then says, yes, mine. Natalia then replies, what are you talking about? Oxen meadows are ours, not yours. So from the illustration below, you can now see what oxen meadows are. Lomov says that these are his, but Natalia counters the exact opposite and says that those are not Lomov's, but in fact theirs. Lomov then replies to Natalia and says, no, mine, honored Natalia Stepanovna. Natalia says, well, I never knew that before. How do you make that out? Lomov then says, how? I'm speaking of those oxen meadows which are wedged in between your birch woods and the burst marsh. So, you can see this is what a burst marsh can look like. Yes, yes, they're ours. Lomov says, no, you're mistaken, honored Natalia Stepanovna. They're mine. Natalia then says, just think, Ivan Vasilievich, how long have they been yours? Lomov replies, how long? As long as I can remember. So you can see that in the conversation so far, there has been a very heated argument between the two people, that is Natalia and Lomov, over whose oxen meadows are those. Natalia says they are hers, and Lomov says that no, those are actually his. Natalia then says, really, you won't get me to believe that? To that, Lomov replies, but you can see from the documents, honored Natalia Stepanovna, oxen meadows, it's true, were once the subject of dispute, that is, of a certain conflict and fight. But now everybody knows that they are mine. Documents can be certain forms of proof, legal, or even some kind of paperwork that shows or proves a landed property to belong to somebody. Lomov then says, there's nothing to argue about. You see, my aunt's grandmother gave the free use of these meadows in perpetuity to the peasants of your father's grandfather, in return for which they were to make bricks for her. So meadows are actually extremely vast, open, and green lands. Lomov then says, the peasants, that are a kind of a farming category of people belonging to your father's grandfather, had the free use of the meadows for 40 years and had got into the habit of regarding them as their own. When it happened that he went on to continue, but Natalia interrupted him and said, no, it isn't at all like that. Both grandfather and great-grandfather reckoned that their land extended to burnt marsh, which means that the oxen meadows were ours. I don't see what there is to argue about. It's simply just very silly. Lomov then replies and says, I'll show you the documents, Natalia Stepanovna. So, as mentioned before, this is what a document can look like. Natalia replies, no, you're simply joking or making fun of me. What a surprise! We've had the land for nearly 300 years. And then we're suddenly told that it isn't ours. Natalia then says, Ivan Vasilievich, I can hardly believe my own ears. These meadows aren't worth much to me. They only come to 5 deciatins and are worth perhaps 300 rubles. Rubles is a form of measuring currency. But I can't stand unfairness, so what you will. And I can't stand unfairness. So you say whatever you want to say, but she will not be unfair, which is basically be unequal. Lomov then says, hear me out, I implore you. The peasants of your father's grandfather, as I have already had the honor of explaining to you, used to bake bricks for my aunt's grandmother. Now my aunt's grandmother wishing to make them a pleasant. So it seems that the land was actually Lomov's, and his aunt's grandmother was the person who had a kind of an exchange or a barter system with that of Natalia's father's grandfather, wherein the peasants at her father's grandfather's lease would go and make bricks for Lonov's aunt's grandmother on the return of being able to use the meadows. Natalia then says, I can't make head or tail of all this about aunts and grandfathers and grandmothers. The meadows are ours, that's all. So Natalia gets extremely confused whether the peasants of her father's grandfather made bricks for Lomov's aunt's grandmother, and in return for that, his Lomov's aunt's grandmother let Natalia's father's grandfather's peasants use the land or the meadows. So she gets extremely confused by all these details. Lomov then just simply says, mine. Natalia says, ours. You can go on proving it for 2 days on end. You can go and put on 15 dress jackets, but I tell you, they're ours. Ours, ours. I don't want anything of yours and I don't want to give anything of mine. So there. Lumov says, Natalia Stepanovna, I don't want the meadows, but I'm acting on principle. If you like, I'll make you a present of them. So he offers that Lumov can send those oxen meadows as a present to Natalia Stepanovna. Natalia then says, I can make you a present of them myself because they are mine. Your behavior, Ivan Vasilovich, is strange to say the least. Up to this, we have always thought of you as a good neighbor, a friend. So, after this heated conversation and argument, Natalia says that if she really wants a present from that oxen meadows, she can make those for herself on her own, as those are there, not Lomov's, and says that for the longest time they thought of Lomov to be a very friendly and nice neighbor. However, she now finds his behavior extremely strange and uncomfortable to deal with. Natalia then says, last year we lent you a threshing machine, although on that account we had to put off our own threshing till November. But you behaved to us as if we were gypsies, giving me my own land, indeed. So Natalia recounts of the time when they have already helped out Lomov with their threshing machine, for which they had to wait their own threshing till November. This tells that Natalia's family has been extremely helpful towards Lomov. Because of this, Natalia is extremely surprised at Lomov's behavior and makes the comment. Natalia then continues to say, no, really, that's not at all neighborly. In my opinion, it's even important if you want to know. Lomov then replies, then you make out that I'm a land grabber? Madam, never in my life have I grabbed anybody else's land, and I shan't allow anybody to accuse me of having done so. Quickly steps to the carafe and drinks more water. Oxen meadows are mine. So Lomov feels extremely threatened and uncomfortable by the kind of accusation that Natalia makes for him for grabbing their land. He's extremely angry as well as surprised upon hearing this from Natalia. Natalia says, it's not true, they're ours. Lomov says, mine. Natalia then replies and says, it's not true, I'll prove it. I'll send my mowers out to the meadows this very day. What? Mowers are basically people who use this machine to shorten Mowers are basically people who use this particular machine in order to shorten grass in the meadows. Natalia then says, my mowers will be there this very day. I'll give it to them in the neck. Natalia says, you dare. I'll give it to them in the neck is a certain kind of phrase that is used to describe a very hostile or a potentially violent driven conflict. Lomov then says, and clutches at his heart, oxen meadows are mine, you understand? Mine. Natalia then says, please don't shout. You can shout yourself hoarse in your own house, but here I must ask you to restrain yourself. So Natalia asks Lomov to keep quiet and not shout, as he was raising his voice to prove the point of the oxen meadows being his. Lomov then says, if it wasn't, madam, for this awful excruciating palpitation, if my whole inside wasn't upset, I'd talk to you in a different way. Oxen meadows are mine. So he says this while shouting. Yells, as the word means, shouting. He's referring to the anxiety within him that is rising with this very heated conversation that he's having with Natalia. Natalia says, ours. Lomov says, mine. Natalia again says, ours. Lomov says, mine. And it's that point of time that Chubukov enters. You can see that a conversation like this could be something like this. Chubukov then says, what's the matter? Why are you shouting out? Natalia says, Papa, please tell this gentleman, who owns oxen meadows? We or he? Chubukov then says and replies to Lomov, darling, the meadows are ours. So when Chubukov enters, he asks why everybody in the room is shouting, upon which Natalia says that he must clarify to the gentleman Lomov that it is them who own the oxen meadows and not Lomov. Chubukov agrees with Natalia and tells this to Lomov that the oxen meadows are theirs. Moving on. Lomov then continues. The peasants used the land for around 40 years and got accustomed to it as if it was their own. When it happened that, so Lomov says that the peasants used to make bricks for his aunt's grandmother, and in return for that work, his aunt's grandmother gave the oxen meadows to Chubukov's fathers and his peasants for free usage. However, over a period of time and after 40 years, the peasants who were using those oxen meadows got used to those oxen meadows as if they were their own, which in fact, when that happened, it forced them to make the assertion that those oxen meadows are actually theirs. Chubukov, on hearing this, then says, excuse me, my precious, you'd forget just this, that the peasants didn't pay your grandmother and all that because the meadows were in dispute and so on. And now everybody knows that they're ours. It means that you haven't seen the plan. So Chubukov says that there was no mention of any kind of payment that was made from the peasants to the grandmother was because the oxen meadows in context were in dispute at that point of time. And now everybody knows that those oxen meadows are theirs. That is Chubukov's and his family, since they had won the dispute, and it is Lomov who has not seen the plan and thus makes this blatant statement of the oxen meadows being theirs. Lomov then says, I'll prove to you that they are mine. Chubukov says, you won't prove it, my darling? And then Lomov interrupts him and said, I shall. Chubukov then replies, dear one, why yell like that? You won't prove anything just by yelling. I don't want anything of yours and don't intend to give up what I have. So, Chubukov then asks Lomov as to why is he shouting so much, as because shouting will not get him anything, nor will that enable Chubukov to give him anything that isn't his. Chubukov then continues, why should I? And you know, my beloved, that if you propose to go on arguing about it, I'd much sooner give up the meadows to the peasants than to you. There. Lomov says, I don't understand. How have you the right to give away somebody else's property? So Lomov says that Chubukov can't really give away the property to the peasants since it isn't his property in the first place. As according to Lomov, the oxen meadows are his and not Chubukov's. So it is Lomov who has the right to sell the property. Chubukov then replies, "You may take it that I know whether I have the right or not. Because, young man, I'm not used to being spoken to in that tone of voice," and so on. I, young man, am twice your age, and ask you to speak to me without agitating yourself and all that. So Chubukov says that he is around twice to Lomov. That is, he is twice as old as Lomov, and he must not speak to him in that rude, impolite, and disrespectful tone. As the matter got heated, he was also shouting at Chubukov. Upon seeing this behavior, Chubukov asks him to respect his age as he is twice as old as him and not agitate or make himself so impatient while talking to him. Lumov then says, "No, you think I'm a fool and want to have me on. You call me my land yours. You call my land yours, and then you want me to talk to you calmly and politely. Good neighbors don't behave like that, Stefan Stefanovich. You're not a neighbor, you're a grabber." So things escalated very quickly. Upon being asked to speak politely to Chubukov, Lomov replies that he will not speak to him in a polite manner since he thinks that Chubukov is not a neighbor but a grabber of the land that he owns. He says that good neighbors are people who don't behave in the manner that Chubukov is behaving, and thinks that he can be fooled by the way Chubukov is talking him into the fact that the land are not his. Chubukov then says, "What's that? What did you say?" Natalia then says, "Papa, send the mowers out to the meadows at once." Chubukov then again says, "What did you say, sir?" Natalia says, "Oxen meadows are ours, and I shan't give them up. Shan't give them up? Shan't give them up." Lomov says, "We'll see. I'll have the matter taken to court, and then I'll show you." So Natalia shows that she won't give up the oxen meadows that she thinks are theirs, and Lomov says that in order to clear the matter, he shall take the matter to the court and have a legal intervention to solve the land dispute that has come between Chubukov and Lomov. Chubukov then says, "To court? You can take it to court and all that. You can. I know you. You're just on the lookout for a chance to go to court and all that. You pettifogger." All your people were like that, all of them. So he calls him a pettifogger, which is quite a slang to disrespect somebody, and says that Lomov's entire family was in fact of people like a pettifogger who were always looking out for a chance to go to court. Lomov then says, "Never mind about my people. The Lomovs have all been honorable people, and not one has ever been tried for embezzlement, like your grandfather." So Lomov says that his family, that is the Lomovs, have been extremely honorable as well as respectable people. They have never been accused of something like embezzlement, which is in fact something that Chubukov's grandfather was accused of. Chubukov then says, "You Lomovs have had lunacy in your family, all of you." So he says that Lomovs have in fact been lunatic, that is, crazy and unstable people. Natalia then says, all. So she in a way agrees to what her father is saying.